Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Legal Gym podcast. Today is going to be a little bit different. Normally, I like to go with the script. Like, this is a new podcast, right? So I try and follow a script and make it as easy as possible for me to remember what I'm talking about. But today, I want to tell you a story. And today, I'm kind of going off the cuff with this. But basically, what I want to do is I want you to right now picture yourself. We're in a coffee shop, and it's just me and you just asked me a question, said, Jim, what is it about online business? How did you get started in online business? And why is online business such an amazing, powerful tool to change people's lives? And so I just want to share with you my answer to that question. And I don't know how long this is going to take, but I want to go through exactly what it was that changed in me and how I got started with my online business. I've made a couple notes, but for the most part, I'm kind of going off the cuff here today. And this is going to be different than every other episode I do, but I think it's important at the foundational level to explain to you why I think online business is such an amazing tool for so many people to change their lives. And so that's what we're going to do today. So let's start from the very beginning. So I graduated from law school way back in 2003, started working at a law firm in Tampa, Florida, and within a couple years decided that I wanted to go out on my own and start my own law practice. But almost from the very beginning, I was disillusioned. And that's because what I really wanted was some financial freedom. I wanted to be able to work from where I wanted, when I wanted, how I wanted. But back then in 2006, 2007, the internet really wasn't the same as the internet is that we know of today. You know, we were back still in Web 1.0. It wasn't as social. The Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all these things were things that we could only dream about. They weren't actually reality. And so what I wanted way back then was to figure out a way that I could run my law practice in a way that I could, if I wanted to go to the beach and run my law practice from the beach, I could do that. I didn't like being constrained by a cubicle, by my office, by the fact that I had to be in court when a judge told me I needed to be in court. I didn't like that. So I really wanted to I was looking for something else. And way back then, I came across some website. I don't remember what website it was, but it taught me how to build a website on my own and how to do search engine optimization and how to start the process of blogging. And I was fascinated by this. And I thought, well, this is pretty amazing. I want to start figuring this stuff out. And so this was, like I said, back in 2006, 2007. I had no prior experience building websites. I really had no idea what I was doing. So I went on, I started a TypePad account. If you remember TypePad, I think it's still around, and started a blog on TypePad and just started, typing up articles and sharing what I knew about the law and sharing what I knew about the practice area that I was working in at the time and online business and different things like that, and just trying to see what would get traction. And this was really important to me because I knew that if I could figure out a way to make online business work, that it really could change the life of me and of my wife and our family, which at that time was just something we had thought about in the future. We knew we wanted to have kids, but we didn't know when or how that was going to happen. Well, we kind of knew how that was going to happen, but that was what was at stake, right? I wanted to make sure I could provide a better life for my family. I knew that my wife at some point wanted to quit her job as an attorney and have less stress, not worrying about going to court, being tied to the whims of somebody else. And maybe you can relate to this. Maybe you're in a job right now where you have to work set hours and you've got to be in your seat at a certain time and you can go to lunch at a certain time. And, if something happens with your children and you need to leave work to go take care of them or pick them up from school or something like that, then you have to ask permission and all those type of things. I didn't like any of that. And that was never a position that I wanted to put myself in. And so I knew that online business might just be the way to get out of that rat race and build something better for me and my family. And so in 2008 or so, 2009, we moved to North Carolina. I ended up starting my own law firm again. At that time, I thought, well, maybe this is a chance for me to figure out something else to do besides being a lawyer. That just didn't work. I wasn't ready to start something in terms of an online business that would really be something that would change my life or that of my family. I just wasn't there yet. But I started learning more and more about online business. I I signed up for the Internet Business Mastery Academy, which was a course taught by Jeremy Franson and Jason Van Orton. I don't think they teach it anymore, but for a while they did, and it's where people like Pat Flynn got their start, and a lot of other online entrepreneurs that you may have heard of actually got their start. They had a podcast. They put out episodes every single week. They were one of the first internet business podcasts, and so I learned a lot from them about how online business works and how online business was so powerful. And that's where I started my first online business, honestly. And I started as a podcast to help other lawyers and help them to market their practice. And that was the niche that I was kind of carving for myself. One thing I didn't mention is when we were still in Florida, before we'd moved to North Carolina, I got a lot of my information from Borders. If you remember Borders, they went bankrupt a while back, but it was a bookstore, and I used to go and sit in the business section and grab all the sales and marketing books that I could find. I'd get a stack of them, and I would go into the coffee shop that they had there at the Borders, and of course, this is back before we had kids, so you could kind of do that on your whim whenever you wanted. And I'd read through these books and maybe buy a couple of them. And now I have this huge library of marketing books back from, between 2005 and 2010 is probably when I bought most of them. And I sucked all that information up, and I learned as much as I could about marketing, permission-based marketing from Seth Godin, direct mail marketing from Dan Kennedy, duct tape marketing from John Jantz. I learned it all. I did as much as I could to try and figure out how this marketing thing worked. And then what happened is I started a podcast, and I taught all this to lawyers. And there are actually quite a few very successful lawyers that have told me they can attribute some of their success to the podcast that they listen to from me, which makes me incredibly proud. Now, obviously, I can't take credit for what they did with their business, but at least it was my podcast was what got them started down that road to building an amazing business for themselves and for their families. So that's where I started. At some point, I decided that really wasn't the road I wanted to go down. That wasn't the niche I wanted to be in, and I wanted to try and find something else. And this was probably around the time back in 2014, 2015 that my mother got sick with cancer. And as a result, I was doing a lot of traveling to go and see her. She lived in Ohio, and I was stressed out about a lot of other things and just really let the podcast go to the wayside and stopped really developing that as a viable business for me personally. And then at some point in 2015 or 2016, my mother did pass away in 2016, and I started my YouTube channel. Now, I didn't really think much of it at the time. I started YouTube as just a means to get some information out there, get my mind off the fact that my mother had recently passed away. And honestly, I was in a funk for most of 2016. It was a very dark year for me personally. And I just wanted to get through it. And so I was posting videos on YouTube, wasn't really thinking a lot about where that was going to go or what was going to happen with that. Never in a million years did I think I was going to get to the point where I had, 126,000 subscribers like I do today. But I kind of let that go for about 2.5 years and came back to it and noticed I had 10,000 subscribers. And that was kind of the light bulb moment for me that I realized I had something here, that I had really found a niche. And that niche was with online business in terms of helping online entrepreneurs get their legal house in order. I had some other businesses that happened, during the years leading up to this that I won't get into here today, but I did an e-commerce business. I had my law firm, obviously, that I was working on and other things that I did. But that moment when I noticed that my YouTube channel was really gaining traction, that was when things really kind of changed for me. And when I started saying, okay, I am going to actually devote some time and effort and money into building this. And I remember very clearly sitting on the couch with my wife and saying, listen, if I can get this thing up to where it's generating $500 a month, is that enough that you're going to be okay with me investing more time and money into this? And she said, I think she thought it was never going to happen. But she's like, fine, if you can get up to $500 a month, we'll see where it goes. And it got up to $500 a month, and then it got up to $1,000 a month, and then it kind of grew from there. And my wife eventually did get on board and realized that doing these videos was more than just a time waster for me. It was actually generating money for our family. And so that's what I did. I kept making more videos and finding other ways to monetize that YouTube channel and generate revenue from that. And so that leads us kind of to today, where I'm at today. And now here I am. It's 2021, end of 2021, as I'm starting this podcast. And I have been doing online business now for about, I would say, 15 or 16 years. And I feel like I have a lot of information to share and just a lot to say about the topic of online business. And that's really why I'm starting this podcast, because I believe that online business is it's such a powerful way to change somebody's life, and it can happen in a very short term. Now, hopefully for you, it doesn't take 15 or 16 years the way it did for me. But the nice thing about you, if you're just getting started in online business today, is that the technology is there that makes it so much easier to do things online than back in 2006 when I first started. It's just, we live in an amazing time, technologically speaking, where you can do so much online with as little as just literally a cell phone. I've seen people on TikTok blow up from nothing to 1 million subscribers and getting brand deals and doing all these things. The same things happen on Instagram and Facebook, obviously, and different places. And online business is just an incredibly powerful way to really change your life. And so I am at a point now where I have recently launched a program. I call it OB Foundations. And it's a membership community. And really the niche that we're hitting at here is over 300 people so far have been through my Lock It Down legal protection system that I've sold as a standalone course. But the problem that I saw a lot of people facing as they went through that course is they did not have the experience necessary or the training or knowledge necessary to build a successful business. So what they were doing was they were falling back on legal as this crutch that, I don't know how to actually build a business, but I know I need to do some things legally, so I'm going to do that. And they're doing that, but that is keeping them from moving forward with their actual business. And so what I want to do in this OB Foundations community that I'm building is actually teach people how to build the online business and then how to make sure that business is legally protected as well. And that's something that I think was vitally missing in the thousands of dollars worth of courses that I took over the past 10 years or so. Everything from Internet Business Mastery way back in 2009 or 2010, whenever I enrolled in that course, to all the other courses that I've taken over the years. Not a single one of them, other than saying, if you have legal questions, go consult with a lawyer, has provided any type of legal advice or guidance. And the reason for that is because the people that create those courses are not lawyers. So they're not qualified to give that advice, and they would be doing you a disservice if they provided that type of advice and guidance on their platforms. And so I'm trying to merge those two needs into one membership community where we bring people into this community that are looking to build and grow an online business and do so legally in a way that's ethical and following the rules and still able to provide a quality life for their family. So if they want to, they can break free from that day job that they hate going to so much. And so that's what I want to do with this podcast. And I'm excited to say that online business has really transformed me into It's given me a lot of freedom. It's given my family a lot of freedom. And I'm excited to see where this next year is going to take us, especially with this new program. I think it's going to be amazing. Anyway, so thank you for listening to the show. And next week we'll be back. We're going to go into more of a legal episode next week. We're going to be talking about how and why you need to set up that LLC when you're just getting started with your online business. So have a great week. I'm going to take that back a second. So this is the first actual episode. Next week is going to be episode 2. And so you can go ahead and listen to that episode right now if you want, because these are all getting released on the same day. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you in I'll talk to you in episode 2.